Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the District of Brown Deer School Board meeting. I call this meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. Verification of public notice. The meeting has been publicly noticed. Verification of a quorum. We have all 7 board members in attendance this evening. Approval of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I will approve the agenda.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor will raise hand and/or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. And our vision statement is to provide a rigorous education that empowers our students to confidently navigate in our ever-changing world. And our mission statement is through the lens of excellence, equity, and engagement. We are dedicated to empowering every student with the essential skills to build a foundation for lifelong learning. Now, we have an item here now for our public comments. If there's anyone, a public member that would like to be able to make a comment, the comment is for 3 minutes, and it has to be something that is a part of our agenda this evening. You have 3 minutes in order to be able to make your comment. What we will do, we will need your name and your address in order to be able to do that. If there's anyone that's in the chat, Ms. Robinson, are you monitoring?
In a second.
Okay, we're Ms. Robinson is monitoring the chat. So if there's anyone that's in the public that has a public comment that they'd like to make, but again, it would has to be a statement of something that is on our agenda this evening. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll give that 1 more minute. Okay, there's no one in the chat. All right, so thank you. We have no public comments. Consent agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda that is presented?
Yes.
Dr. Beagle, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the minutes of the May 14, 2024 special board meeting, the May 28, 2024 regular board meeting, the schedule of voucher payments via check, ACH and wire transfers in the amount of $1,294,969.30, and the general checking account and the food service account, including funds 10, 21, 27, 39, 47, 49, 50, 72, and 80, and the June 25th, 2024 school safety drill update as presented tonight.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. A motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion is made in second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and/or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously, 7-0. All right, let's go on to our next item. Our item 4A, to accept the donation to the school district. Mr. Clemick?
Yes, I will actually introduce Mr. McGregory and our special guest this evening, Mr. Earl Gangler, who would like to make a presentation to us.
All right, I have Hall of Famer Earl Gangler, who coach here at Brown Deer. He began his career here at Brown Deer in 1969, and he retired from coaching baseball in 1994-95 season. And he was a 1993 Hall of Fame inductee by the Wisconsin Baseball Coaches Association. In addition to being in that Hall of Fame, he was quite a stellar player back in his day too. He was inducted into the UWM Hall of Fame in 1980. And Coach Gangler won us 2 state titles back in 1975 and 77, and we were runner-up in 1982. And he also coached the East squad in the first All-Star Classic in 1984, and also assisted with the Wisconsin National AAU Championship team in 1988. And so I was blown away when Coach Gangler called and contacted me saying that he wanted to give a donation. I couldn't believe the generosity that this man is showing us. I was like, for real? I thought somebody was pranking me, I'm not gonna lie. And so we eventually met and talked and discussed about the possibility, and his heart is like huge, because he basically wanted to make sure that he can leave something behind to make Brown Deer better, and particularly focusing on baseball, because of course that's his love. And so we finally been able to get Mr. Gangler here tonight to officially do the donation. Anything else you need me to add? Because I'm just elated to have Coach Gangler here and super excited for what this is gonna do for our program, help us move forward and whatnot. Mr. Gangler.
All right.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. And so the check is in the amount of $25,000.
Whoa, all right. Oh, hey, Kevin, hey, don't be planning any trips.
I should take a picture, right?
Yeah.
So,
Can you say anything?
Yep. Mr. Gavin, would you like to say anything, sir?
Yeah, I guess I.
Yeah, come on.
Just a couple words.
Right, then you're on camera.
Yeah, first of all, let me say that the gentleman here has just done a tremendous job from what I can tell. It was wonderful and taking me around and telling me the things that they need at this time. When I talked to him originally, I was concerned about making maybe the facilities better for baseball. Again, baseball was my main thing, okay? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make a donation like this years ago, where maybe it could have been better used to help the program. But I had a wife that I had to care for many years and never knew how much it was gonna cost me, take care of this person, but now she passed away, so.
It's hard hearing that. Our blessings, our
I
prayers.
know my finances are. So I was very happy to be able to help you in any way I could. But again, hopefully this gentleman will help you, especially with the baseball program. But he did have a proposal that I saw that he could do something with the facilities to make them more attractive and better and safer, which I approved. And he said if any money left over, he would use for other things, which fine, I'll leave it to this man's gentleman. He knows what he's doing and he can handle it if it goes beyond the baseball, okay? But I'm sorry I couldn't make this donation a little sooner. But hopefully it'll still make a difference somewhere, okay?
Well, thank you so much.
Did you get the picture?
Gotta get the picture.
Yeah, I
Okay.
should. I think that's a good idea.
But, Coach, I gotta ask you a question. Did you have anything to do with Brown Deer Little League and from 76 to 79?
I didn't myself, but again, I know the feeder program was fantastic.
Yeah, I know I played there.
It's very easy to win when you have talent coming in. I had it, and the facilities here at that time were #1 in the state.
Wow.
How many places could you go and play night baseball? Have a PA system and a scoreboard, and the teams loved to come and play at Brown Deer. Whether they won or lost, the coaches couldn't wait to play it. And the parents who came, they thought it was just outstanding. And I want you to know that it was easy for me to coach them. Everybody wanted to play. Unfortunately, I went through a period at the end where our enrollment changed quite a bit. And thus our program went down quite a bit. But when we were strong, we were strong. And it was fun. I really had a great time.
Those guys, Briscoe Bean and Peters and all of those guys, yeah.
Yeah, you know those?
You know, yeah, definitely.
So I had some great
We're
time.
looking at it.
Right here. You go, sir.
All right, I'm gonna take 2, okay? So 1. And 2. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it, sir.
Yeah. Well, it's now even for me, it's the family's favorite.
Wow, okay, so how do we follow that up?
Right.
Man, there you go.
There's a motion to approve it though.
Oh, okay, would someone like to make a motion to approve the generous donation?
Dr. Vito, it is my great pleasure to make a motion to approve the donation from Mr. Earl Gangler as presented.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you much. Ms. Ashley, motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Wow, now that right there, that makes your day and being able to go back to that. Oh, yes.
So
Yes, ma'am.
I just a comment and just wondering, because we were talking about just posting highlights of the district. And
There it is.
This one is where they.
Yes. That picture goes in, Ms. Ross.
Okay.
Right, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, even that almost might need to go to the village. That might also need to go to the village website for that, for Coach Gangler. Oh, yes, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, because he was here forever. Like I said before, I played from 76 to 79 here, and he wasn't my coach or whatever have you, but he had the baseball program and he made sure that everybody played.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay. All right. I'll just go on to our next item. Is B, approval of new hires. Mr. Clemick.
Yes, we have several new hires this evening. First, we have Elizabeth Howie, an English teacher that's joining us in high school. Alyssa Smith, a high school special education teacher, and Katie Salatko, which is our new speech and language teacher at the middle high school. She is returning. She has I think she was last year in the early 2000s.
Okay. All right. Would someone like to make a motion for the approval of the hires? And I think we should be able to.
They are.
They all on the 26th, so, well, except for one.
No, those three you can do together.
We can do those three, the 26s together, August 26s together, and then the last one would need to be.
The last one is actually item, that's the next one. That's a separate.
Yeah, that's got to be separate and stuff because you got different dates.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Would someone like to make a motion for the approval of the hiring of Elizabeth, Alyssa, and Katie?
I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of Elizabeth Howie as high school English teacher. Also, the hiring of Alyssa Smith as high school sped teacher. And the approval hiring of Katie Salatko as the middle school, high school speech language teacher, all effective August 26, 2024 for the 2024-25 school year.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Farrington. Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor would raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And you see that motion carries unanimously 7-0. So we will welcome Elizabeth, Alyssa, and Katie to the Brown Deer family for the 24-25 school year. And now, would someone like to make a motion for the employment agreement for Tatanda?
We do have Tatenda Chimboza is our new elementary school psychologist. She'll be joining us next month and replaces Haley Bird. So she'll be joining us now as well.
All right. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the employment agreement for Tatenda Chimboza as an elementary school psychologist effective July 1st, 2024 for the 2024-2025 school year.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion made. We have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Ms. Bacon, motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor would raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. So now we welcome Tatanda. Am I saying that right?
Tatanda.
All right, Tatanda to the Brown Deer team. All right, let's go on to our next item. Item C, approval of resignations.
We do have one resignation this evening. Unfortunately, one of our longtime staples in the district, Sarah Ford, our elementary school music teacher, will be leaving us now at the end.
Oh, okay. All right.
I did note in there originally pending liquidated damages, we made an arrangement. It's all, that's been addressed, so you don't have to include that.
Okay, so I'm gonna cross that out. Okay. All right. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Sarah Ford?
I'll make the motion to approve the resignation of Sarah Ford as elementary school music teacher effective June 20th, 2024.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Farrington. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I do want to point out, I'm not sure if she wants to speak. There is a Sarah online. I don't know if that's Sarah Ford that, I don't know if she wants to say anything or not, or if she's just watching. I want to give her the opportunity if she wanted to address the board or not.
Ms. Ford, are you on the telecast?
If not, could be a different one, so I just wanted to at least get that opportunity. So, and anyway, we do wish her very well. Obviously, she's been a huge asset to the district, and run that music program for many years. Had the giant all-school concert last year, which was incredibly successful, and we just wish her all the best.
How long was she here?
I think she was here in 2011.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, okay, well, we reluctantly have that motion. All right, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. We wish Sarah much success in her future endeavors, and as we always say, once a Falcon, always a Falcon. All right, let's go on to our next item, item D, approval to rescind teacher contracts.
All right, and as you know, that there's a statutory deadline of June 15th to respond to signing or not signing your contract. We do generally reach out afterwards to see what's happening, and we did have one teacher decided to just accept the rescinding of the contract, so we're pulling it back, and we now have an opening posting for that as well. So that is for Jason Bowman, a special education teacher.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve? I'm sorry, Ms. Bacon?
Dr. Beal, I'd like to rescind the contract for Jason Bowman as an elementary school sped teacher effective June 15, 2024.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bacon. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second, Dr. Peter.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. We wish Jason success in future endeavors. We wish that we all wish all of our teachers would be able to stay, but sometimes, there are other opportunities or things that come up that people would like to be able to follow. So with that being said, Jason, we wish you all the best, and once a Falcon, always a Falcon. All right, let's go on to our next item is our treasury report for May 24.
Right, just wanted to share with you, obviously, we're coming up on the end of the fiscal year. We've done a number of things in June that aren't represented in this report. There's nothing thus far that gives me any different pause than where we were. We're still waiting again for some of the June things to come in. Still some of our revenue claiming. So I did just share it with the board so that you did have an update as to where we are on funds 10 and 27. If you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer.
Board members, questions for Mr. Clemick? I know he posted it yesterday, right?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, we posted it yesterday and we all got the email about that. Okay, all right, thank you. If you don't have any questions, let's go on to our next item, item 4F. Approval of the 24-25 district insurance coverages. Mr. Clemick.
Yes, our annual, I apologize in advance. You're going to hear a lot of me tonight. So warning you, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. But yes, one of the things we have to do this time of year is finalize our insurance renewals, which is, we've already done health insurance and all of the health lines. Now we're doing kind of our general, including property, workers' compensation, auto, things like that. And so we use our firm Gallagher Risk Management Services to help us in that process. They put out the bid, they negotiate on our behalf with various companies looking for best option, best coverage as possible. So basically, we are coming back to you with a similar renewal package, the same vendors as we had in this past year. I did highlight a couple things. Obviously, the price of the insurance has gone up, but that is an industry-wide thing. And in the executive summary that Gallagher shared with me when we met, I also shared that with the board. It's posted. And there are examples of how you're seeing they show you several examples in different lines of coverage of what the general commercial commercial environment is like, the number of firms that are seeing increases, decreases, or staying the same. And K-12 seems to be, the K-12 and public sector seems to be always on the higher end, so they're seeing much fewer seeing reductions in premiums and a lot more increases. And so we're part of that group as well. We did do the property revaluation this past year just to verify that we were not that far off, and we weren't really far off, so that actually worked out for us. I feel now confident that we are adequately covered should there be a calamity and a building would have to be replaced or partially replaced. So we've taken care of that. The one recommendation from the property insurance standpoint that Gallagher recommended was increasing our per incident deductible from $5,000 to $10,000. That's pretty common now. It does save us about $10,000 a year. So that is the recommendation I'm presenting tonight. That's part of the package that you saw. Workers' compensation, that is a huge piece of our increase this year. We did have several significant claims or the result of claims that had occurred several years before that were getting resolved. And so our mod rate, which is what they use to calculate our premiums, went from a 1.11 and 1 being about average. So we were slightly above average to a 1.8, which is not good. But we will work our way through that. But that was part of the significant increase that we saw in our workers' compensation premiums. We are sticking with First Dakota, which are RAS, they go by both names, which is the same company we switched to last year. They are sticking with this 25% dividend. And Gallagher does report that a lot of companies are kind of doing away with the dividend. So again, if the price of the workers' compensation insurance is $139,000, if our claims remain moderate and we don't have a huge change in what our payroll is, we would see a 25% dividend come back to the district, which would be about $35,000. So that does end up reducing that cost at the end of the year. But that's a big piece of it. Liability coverage rates are, in that 6 to 7% range because of the continued legal action that districts seem to be facing. And then cyber insurance continues to be an issue price-wise. We continue to have, double-digit increases every year. So we are, again, continuing with our coverage with underwriters and Lloyd's with a slight increase. So overall, the entire package, including the property, auto, all of that, educator liability, equipment breakdown, workers' comp, our umbrella policy, and cyber liability, the total package cost for all of those items is $343,780. It is a 23% increase from last year. It is less than I had presented to you in my budget. So I was a little cautious on that. So I was able to bring that down a little bit. So that is somewhat positive, but it's kind of like when, gas is at $4.25 and they get excited when it's $3.75, but I wish it was $2.50 again. So the recommendation tonight then would be to accept, and the motion is written for you as to accept the renewals with these various vendors for our 24-25 revenues.
All right, thank you, Kevin. I guess, well, first off, let's go this way. Would someone like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the property, inland marine, crime, general liability, educator legal liability, automotive and umbrella insurance coverage renewals, the American Family Home Insurance Company, the equipment breakdown insurance renewal with Hartford Steam Boiler Inspection and Insurance Company, and the workers' compensation insurance renewal with First Dakota Indemnity Company, and the cyber liability insurance renewal with underwriters at Lloyd's of London for 2024-25 school year as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. The motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
I thank you very much, Ms. Macon. Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? I guess my question, Kevin, is this gonna be our 1 year, or is there any way for us to be able to do like a 3-year and them being able to potentially give us, increase like like 2% every year for the next 3 years, or is this just that 1-year contract on all of the
These
items?
are all 1-year contracts. I think in general, they're looking to see what your claims are like on an annual basis. Now we have had some good work with these companies. I mean, they've been supportive of us. I don't know what it would have been like completely going out to market. There are, as with a lot of things, there's a lot less competition. There are companies exiting public sector insurance, so that adds to the pressure. The other thing that was pointed out by Gallagher was that I don't remember the term, but there are actually weather zones that they look at based on what they see as like hail and straight line wind damage, as well as, you know, tornadic activity or other natural disasters. And we have moved into a moderate risk area, not so much from like a hurricane situation like we were on the coast, but because the storms are getting more intense. I mean, the last couple of weeks, you know, have been an example of that, where they're seeing more hail damage, more straight line wind sort of situations. And so the rates are going up to address those claims, or they're even reducing, or they're increasing deductibles for certain kinds of weather related incidents. So it just, the whole industry is kind of circling in because the cost of claims, either from a environmental damage sort of thing through weather or whatever, or just from a liability standpoint with the litigious nature of our society nowadays, and lawsuits, educator liability, especially when you're talking about sexual harassment, those kind of coverages, it's much more expensive nowadays. So it's a much more challenging environment to be operating in. So we have to work with the vendors that are out there that will look at our business.
Right, and that workers' comp is also contingent upon salaries and the changes that happen with that. And so as our salaries are going up, that could potentially be part of the component that causes that portion of it to increase.
I mean, we do recognize that we do have some things we need to work on internally from the safety standpoint, just to make sure. I mean, again, some of these claims are the finalization of claims that occurred 2 or 3 years ago, the final like payouts for certain things, in ways that may not even be in the district anymore, but still addressing those. And other things are just making sure that we are, you know, being as safe as possible with how we work, with how our campus is set up, so you know, slip and ice, fall sort of thing. All of that, making sure we're as safe as possible. So we continue to work on that as well.
All right. Any other questions? All right. That being said, all in favor will raise hand and/or aye. Any opposed? You can see that motion carries unanimously, 7-0. All right. Let's go on to our next item. Is the approval of the K-4 through 5th grade reading curriculum. So wouldn't it be K-4 through 5th grade reading curriculum and the K-4 reading curriculum?
The My View reading curriculum is for K-5 through 5th grade, and then the 3 tiers is for 4th grade. It's all part of the same
K-4.
package.
It's part of the same package for the K-4 part?
3 tiers is for K-4,
Right.
and K-5 through 5th grade is the My View. So they're 2 names, but it's all part of the same quote.
Okay, so it's all part of just one reading curriculum adoption.
Correct.
And
It's
this-
all from one company, but just they have a different name for that
And
package.
this is all part of, this is the one that Act 20 is saying that we have to do?
Right, yes, this is what Dr. Glass presented a couple weeks ago, shared with you the results, and then I think shared additional information with
There
you.
was some questions too. Didn't someone have some questions? When we, it was.
She did, I think she shared, because she shared some of the documents that she was talking about, like with the, I forgot the term.
Is she online? Is she online right now?
Not, she was out on vacation this week, so she did, and that's why she had reached out to say if you have any questions, try to provide it, she'll provide additional information. Other than the fact that, as we did mention, this was the package that the teachers preferred. We had shared with you a different quote last time. We did get it modified with our projected enrollment. So it's brought down considerably and just kind of verified what we were looking for. So the number's down a bit. And again, this would be something we would adopt over the summer and have in place for the 24-25 school year.
Because like the only thing I was remembering is I'm almost positive I remember somebody had some questions or whatever. So those questions must have gotten answered.
I think it was part of it was that SL, that level 2 and that analysis piece, and she did include that handout
In the executive summary.
Yeah, part of the executive summary, but she did include it on Board Doc, so it's out there. And I think showing you how it was rated. I think that was the rating piece of it.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, would someone like to make a motion for the approval of the My Reading Language Arts curriculum? Again,
3 tiers for pay is presented.
All right. It's not that one read right, but, all right, a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor would raise. Lisa. That being said, all in favor would raise hand and or aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. So now we have our My View Reading and Language Arts curriculum. All right.
Very much, and Dr. Glass and teachers within the.
All right, let's go on to our item. I know, right? Our item 8, approval of the Verkada camera.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, thank you, Ward. So I have some friends online with me. So I have Matthew Gawler, who is our a colleague of mine. And then I have our trusted advisor, Rich Rourke, who's online as well, if we have any questions. So as part of our Cox grant, we put in for some, looks like some replacements, some upgrades to our existing camera system, which is called an ExactVision camera system. And we, through the process of pricing out the upgrades necessary to kind of get us to where we were, I think we had some sticker shock. We kind of estimated we were kind of ballparking for the COPS grant. And then we said, well, if we're going to spend this amount of money, why don't we look at what is maybe a best practice or potential alternatives to our existing camera system? Our existing camera system has some faults. It is the cameras are not that brilliant. The technology keeps outpacing itself in regards to the amount of pixels, the amount of storage required. The better the picture, the more space you need. If you've got an iPhone, you know this, right? So the prettier your pictures are, the more bigger iPhone you have to get, right? Or the more storage that Apple or Samsung wants you to buy. So this is no different with our camera systems. In a school district, when we look at from a safety perspective, trying to make sure that we have it is the best practice is 30 days of required storage. So if there's an incident, we want to have 30 days of storage per camera. So we have about 200 cameras. So you can imagine what the size of that storage means. So our current system is an on-site storage. So we have these massive servers with terabytes of space, and we are slowly but surely getting so big in terms of the cameras that we're having that a physical solution is going to be an expensive solution, and one that I feel like we're constantly going to be needing to try to figure out how to Band-Aid. And I promise you, we're scrappy. Our department is scrappy. We're very, conscientious in terms of like how we're trying to make do with what we have. We even add drives physically to our old stuff, and looking at licensing costs per camera, what those renewals look like. I work with Kevin closely to try to make sure that we're able to predict, what those costs will be. And slowly but surely, though, we're getting really expensive in terms of what we're looking at. So this is beyond what the COPS grant is. And so there's a competitor to ExactVision called Verkada. And Verkada is using, and that's kind of what the summary explains, is using some state-of-the-art technology, but it's also got some built-in systems and features which are going to potentially not only save our administrators time, it's cloud-based. There's 10-year warranties for the cameras that we purchase, which provides us with a little bit of security in terms of some of those pieces. It also has some unbelievable features that are using AI in regards to being able to kind of help us do our jobs a little bit better. We can access them via our phones. Right now, our current camera system, because it's on site, you would have to have a VPN in order to access it internally, which as we know with our cyber insurance, you don't want to do that, okay? We right now, what we've had to do is rescind the Brown Deer Police Department's access to our camera systems in their police vehicles because of the VPN vulnerabilities that we're unable to kind of keep up with. And that's not a good solution either, right? And so what we would like to do is potentially, given the size and the scope of this project, is break it up into two pieces. So we'll have phase one, of which we will utilize all of our, what we had set aside for COPS grant dollars, which is a little over $100,000, about $108,000, is what we had, kind of originally planned to get, which was upgrading some NVRs and then getting some cameras and 12 cameras. That's it. And so what we would do is we would petition the Grants Commission to see if we could remove $20,000 that was set aside for training, which I feel, as one of 4 members of our safety team, we probably don't need to spend that kind of money. I feel we're doing really well and we can run some tabletop exercises. I feel like we're in really good shape here. So we could petition to, adjust $20,000 of the existing budget on the grant for that, and put that toward the cameras budget as well. We have some funds within my existing budget line that we would contribute to that as well to pay for phase one. And what that means is we're short some money. So this is why we're coming to you. So what we are looking to do is break this project into 2 pieces. The first phase for what would be if we got a 5-year camera license, I gave you a line item for a 3-year camera license, which is about $23,000 less. So for 5 years, which would be our ideal, we're just shy of $200,000. And what that would do is it would cover the entire elementary school, every outdoor camera. And what we can do is we can show you, like, if you want to see what it is, if you trust us, that's brilliant. But if you want to see, it's pretty cool. But every outdoor camera, all the cameras here at the administrative building, and all the outdoor cameras at the middle high school, as well as the environmental sensors at the cameras. So these would be like vaping, the cameras and the vaping sensors and things like that that are throughout the high school, the middle high school. So it would be and then the second phase then would be to at some point replace the cameras, the remaining amount of cameras that would exist at the middle high school inside. So it would reduce kind of the size of that storage footprint that we currently have on our NVRs. And but with Verkada, then it would those would then be cloud-based. From a safety and security perspective, we worked really hard with our trusted advisors to figure out what that magic number would be to make sure that we've kind of hit that sweet spot. So and then at some point phase 2 would then be the other piece, which is about an equal amount.
I guess my question is so this is all really basically based upon security and the cameras and everything. So why wouldn't we do the middle high school first and then do the elementary school?
So, and I think we are trying to figure out, because we couldn't do, and we did talk about this, because we can't do the entire building, and where we have a lot of our issues are actually outdoors. And so for us in our district, in terms of some of the safety pieces, it's parking lots, it's the pathway, and it's playgrounds. And so in the drive entrances. And with this technology, we have the ability to, and we can pull it up and show you. And Matthew's ready on the fly here to share a screen, but we can type in if we have an issue with like say it's somebody has hit somebody, we might have a car that was stolen. We have cameras on the parking lot, or on the entrances, the pathway or so on. We can say, white Chevy Silverado, and it'll find every white Chevy Silverado that has passed, an entrance. So we would have to scrub. In our previous camera system, we'd have to scrub, like, I can't tell you how many hours administrators have lost. Mr. Woods is on the call. He could probably tell you, but we would have to sit there and look at a camera. If we knew it happened on a Sunday, we'd have to probably watch, bless you, again, maybe 4 hours of footage, to do that. So I think we're trying to look at the ROI here. We thought elementary, ASC, and the middle high school would be, because it'll cover all of the outdoor cameras. And
So the elementary school project, phase 1, will cover these parking lots and stuff too?
Yep, all elementary school cameras, the ASC, all outdoor cameras and environmental sensors. So, and then with 100 cameras left. And we would then have that on a separate system. So then it wouldn't create this problem for administrators to figure out where it is. Because if we were in, for example, we have maybe 3 Verkada cameras in a hallway, and then all of a sudden we've got 2 Exact Visions. They'd have to go from a Verkada system to an Exact system. Whereas in a Verkada system, what I can do is I can say, if I want to track, I can put Kevin's picture in the camera and it will track him. It will track him in the building where it's at. So I don't have to switch from camera to camera to camera. Or if I know Kevin's got the goldenrod shirt on, it will track the goldenrod shirt. It'll find me all the goldenrod shirts. It'll estimate the pathway in which Kevin is taking, and it will tell me which camera to go to next.
Okay, so, but again, I still kind of wanna.
I know.
We have our issues are at the middle high school, right? So if you're saying that this goes over to elementary school, but the cameras cover the parking lots, the parking lots, the athletic fields, and the ASC, so if that's taking care of all that, so then why would it still cost us almost another $197,000 in phase 2 to be able to do the high school if this camera system in phase 1 is covering all of this?
So part of it is because it's 101 outdoor cameras, but 101 cameras is this first phase. But they're outdoor and then outdoor rated cameras, which are the ones that have the multi-view, so a little more complex, they're a little more expensive. That gives us a little bit better view and analysis of a situation. So those cost a little bit more. They're a little bit more to license and those things. So trying to get kind of some of those bigger, that bulkier cost there. Yeah.
Question.
Oh, wait, hold on. Ms. Robinson was first.
Okay.
So what's the cost difference if we do the middle high school and all of the outdoor in phase 1? And then elementary in phase 2?
Sure. I'm sure I could break out. So we have the quote for phase 1. Rich is online with me here, and I'm not sure we didn't do that math problem, but we could look at, so the elementary full cost is 60,000 total. Okay, that's the elementary. And then the all of the outdoor cameras is 23,000. And the environmental sensors were 13.
You have that backwards.
Oh, you said Rich is on the line. That's the guy who's doing it.
Yeah.
Rich, can you help us out with some of this math real quick?
This pencil's probably working too.
You bet. I'm just pulling up our original proposal where we had everything. Give me 2 minutes.
Sure.
Right, because I think from the board standpoint, kind of where the questions are going is because the majority of our issues are actually at the middle high school when we started talking about need
And
of
we would agree.
use of cameras and stuff, so.
And I know, and I think what we were trying to do is hit 100 camera threshold. So Verkada has been extremely generous in terms of their pricing, as well as giving us like a $25,000 credit, rip and replace. There's also a significant discount in the pricing of the cameras that they're going to give us as a partner. And so we were trying to hit the 101 camera threshold. So that's why we did that. But if the board is okay, like I think it was that 101 and then kind of that $200,000, amount. So I think we had tried to figure out what we could do so that it wouldn't be so we could hit the outdoor areas, which was one of our primary focuses. And then cover, and then to meet that threshold. So it originally started out just as an outdoor camera, kind of thing. Well, let's do that. Let's do them in many phases. So we'll do the outdoor cameras, then we'll do this, but there's an opportunity for us to receive some significant discounts if we reach that 100 camera threshold. So, but we could, go ahead, Rich, sorry.
Just to follow up on Kara's perspective, right? Like we looked at this multiple ways, right? And looked at different thresholds, different security parameters. So, but to answer your question, the high school, middle school altogether was $188,669. We were trying to, understand with the COPS grant and everything. 188,669.
That's for the middle high school.
Yeah, all in.
Indoor only though.
Indoor only, right, Rich? Not including the outdoor or anything, yeah.
That
correct, Rich?
188,669 is all in high school, middle school. Elementary, all in is 63,225.
And then, Rich, that didn't include, were those the kind of like the outdoor, that was.
That's
just all
not the
indoor.
licenses, correct? So
Right.
we'd have to add in the licenses as well. So that's just the hardware piece of it.
And those numbers include the outdoor cameras, does it?
It does. The 188,669 includes the outdoor, but if we go 5 years, we'd have to add $154,455 to that. So give me 1 second.
3 years. Sure.
So for an extra 2 years, another $100,000?
So
Unless I heard you wrong, Rich.
we have to add the licenses. So the 188 is just kind of the cameras and the infrastructure piece. So the 5-year license would be 105,000 on top of the 188. The 3-year would probably be at probably a 20% discount of that would be my guess. Maybe 30.
May I ask a couple of questions? Sure, do.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Sharonda first, Ms. Farrington first, and then Ms. Walker.
So my question was about outdoor cameras. So will these cameras catch sort of the 60th Street to see the building? So I know there were some things that happened and the camera couldn't see it because the cameras were looking like this way.
So they wouldn't point this way. We would, they can go on light posts. They can go so they could be placed differently. So the way that they run. So I think part of it is, it's a slippery slope, right? Because we have a camera in the elementary school that catches the traffic, at the 4-way stop. So then we don't want it to be a police camera. If the police want a camera there, they should probably put one there.
No,
Yeah, but yeah.
There was a break-in.
Oh,
and it was
yes.
in the middle high
And the
school
parking lot, yes, it would pick that up. Yes, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
It would
because
have
the other
much better
camera
coverage.
couldn't see it.
Yeah, and I think and just quality of it, very different.
Yeah, and then my second question was about if it's a cloud based, so is it like the iPhone where there are often upgrades and bug fixes within the program?
And happens naturally. Yeah, we don't have to do it currently. Matthew and Eric have to touch every physical camera to update it. If the internet goes out, they have an SD, the Verkada cameras have an SD card in it. So it continues to record. And so if we needed that camera, and then when it goes back online, it updates, but if we needed that physical foot, we could do it, we could just grab the card, from the camera. It's pretty nice. So,
Yeah, I just.
Ms.
read
Walker,
the
Ms. Walker.
Well, I just have a couple of questions. I want to make sure I'm understanding things correctly.
yes.
We're buying cameras that have a 10-year warranty. Okay, and then we're talking about either doing a 3-year or 5-year licensing agreement. So even if we chose the 5-year, after that, the cameras would still have 5 more years of life.
They would.
And then this would be the only company then that would, of course, then do their hardware. So I'm just wondering, is there like, after the 5 years, then we're just.
We would have to buy additional, we'd have to, it would be like we currently have, we would just buy licenses. So we have to renew our licenses for our cameras
Okay.
every year.
Gotcha.
Mhm. So, and then this is where, we would obviously get a steeper discount for a 5-year, and then we would do the 5 years. What's interesting, camera breaks in the 9th year. They do believe Verkada now, with the technology that they're doing, the demos and the calls that we've had with them, they think that the cameras will last even longer. So if it breaks in its 9th year, in the 11th month, they'll give us a new camera. So, and then it receives the updates and the upgrades automatically. We would have to switch a camera out to receive that kind of update and upgrade. But like in terms of some of the AI technology and things like that, but this is automatically pushed out, and the cameras receive those updates.
Okay, all right, so Ms. Robinson and then Ms. Peterson.
I was just gonna say that I spent the day at a tech conference, so everything you're saying about the cameras we have now is just making me just.
And we spend a whole lot of money.
It's hard. It is hard, and I know, and I know, don't like to, so we have what we had, but with this camera system, we've been upgrading it for about, I don't know, I've been here 22 years. So I probably remember that camera system maybe like 18, 17 years, that we've gotten it. And I think we're again, now we're at this tipping point here where we have an opportunity to do something different and a little more. Or we kind of keep pouring money after a system that is really
Updated.
And won't ever be where we would like to be.
So then we're doing phases though, because of having the money.
Yeah, I think the money is an issue, so we might need to then figure out, phase 2, but we could, and Rich and our team have talked about this too, so if we have some newer cameras, or elementary doesn't have that many cameras, so we could take our parts and pieces that we've got, give them the nicest cameras, and our current system, the amount of time that they spend looking at the camera is not great. It's peanut, like they're in the hallways, it's really quite minimal. And the bigger issue is playground, parking lots for elementary.
All right, Ms. Peterson?
Okay, just a couple of questions, and there's been so much information that's been shared, so if you've already shared
it's
this,
okay.
I apologize in advance. The first question is associated with, it stuck with me when you talked about the potential upgrades that could occur over the course of the time period that we're discussing. And that the team would have to come out and literally touch each camera to get the new upgrades to occur. Is the managing of this system included in these costs anywhere?
Yes, so Matthew, do you want to share your screen, sir? And he can show you kind of what the interface looks like. And you'll see, but yes, it is, the interface is, my team almost got tears in their eyes. They're like, oh, it's so pretty. And I know, it's the little things, Dr. Beal, right? But I think that it's a system where, and he has some screenshots. Matthew's not on site, which is ironic because he can't show you our existing camera system because he's not allowed to access it off site. So this is this is kind of what this new system looks like. And so we have 2 cameras, one from a demo that we have pointed at a bathroom door, And then this is a camera that's off of the theater, the MAC. And it points, you know, at that parking lot. If you'll see it, that's the high school main entrance there. Yeah, and very, very pretty. But the interface that you see is on the left. It's your camera view. Matthew, you can talk to it, sir, if you want.
Yeah. So, couple things here. So earlier we talked about the vehicles. So here automatically it just detects every single vehicle that's passed. But if you want to be specific, like, oh, I'm looking for a red car, you just go to color, red, every single red car. And there's so much data here, and this is literally only one camera, you know? Same thing with people. It automatically detects every person that passes. It will show their path too that they walked if you go to motion. So you can see here, this is mostly cars, but you can see people here and it's going to show the green line where they're walking. Another thing, like we mentioned before, is
You can pick on Eric. Yeah.
actual people of interest. So I put Eric up here, my coworker. It's kind of a funny picture of him, but you get the gist here. You can put anybody's picture in here and it'll just find them on the camera. You know, there's no scrubbing through footage like here at our old system here. Here's an example of like the bottom here would be all the footage you have to go through, and someone would need to tell you the time and date an incident occurred. And it's just, it takes a while to figure out where you want to be, because you would have to know the name of the camera, what NVR it's located at. And then once you know that information, then you would be like, okay, so it probably happened in this 30-minute time frame, and then, you know, you try to figure it out. So that's just kind of a little brief overview of the current system.
I think we all get it. I mean, wonderful system. I think for us is more along the lines of you've got phase 1 and phase 2. So I don't know, and this is just me speaking. I love the idea of the outdoor cameras and everything and stuff, but I really would rather have the middle high school cameras to make sure from a safety standpoint, because the majority of 80% of our issues are at the middle high school, right? And then you got a system like that or whatever have you, which definitely would be able to help us with everything else that's going on. That's my number one. And then number two, from a budgetary standpoint, would this come out of the technology and software services, or where would this come out of?
That was gonna be
Well,
the next question.
So this is a wonderful idea. The challenge is, of course, that we don't have.
We don't have $200,000 running
Well,
around.
now, again, there is the COPS grant.
grant,
So
you
there
got
is
the
the grant, and that's,
Moving at 20,000 from
if
the
we can do
train.
that might get us $100,000 to $120,000.
That's phase 1. I'm talking about phase 2.
Well, I think you have to look at, and that's why I think Kara's, why she's trying to plan this way, is that we have an opportunity to do this lump sum investment to get it going. And then there will have to be a discussion down the road as to how phase 2 is addressed, whether that's, financed, whether it's, we have additional money comes through some other way, whatever the case may be. Either way, and so what Kara was trying to do is have two packages that are about the same. So if you do want to, if you're trying to do something where you do the middle high school interior cameras and the outdoors, basically just the small piece of the elementary school, leaving that behind, it will be significantly more, and we're gonna have to come up with more out of our pocket in this upcoming fiscal year. Again, anything I say over the next 6 months, when I say out of this upcoming fiscal year is gonna be the deficit. So it's like, how big of the deficit do you wanna go? So that's the challenge. It's not that we, now, there is a possibility, although Matt's gonna give you some other things to think about as well. I mean, we do have the Fund 46 piece, that money is sitting there that we may end up using, but we could easily.
Are we trying to shrink that?
We could easily deplete that with some of the conversations that you'll hear over the next few weeks. So I just wanna, So it's all about prioritization. So again, I think it's a great system. I think you do have to honestly look at the ROI with the time involved and while that's not gonna be something you're gonna be able to necessarily immediately appreciate from the books aren't gonna show that. But if our administrators aren't spending hours and hours and hours, I know I have watched Matt look for, footage when there've been either a break-in in the lot or something's happened, or we're trying to identify when, what happened at a particular moment. And you are sitting there and you're playing it even at double speed or triple speed and you're staring at the screen. That's all you're doing for that time. And if you can type in a keyword and boom, 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 you got 20 choices to go look at and see which one was the incident. Obviously, it's a huge time saver.
I think we all understand that part. I guess my thing is the majority of the break-ins and majority of all the stuff that's happening is at the middle high school.
Well, again, but if you're talking about like car break-ins, that's all the outdoor stuff. So I guess that's the challenge. I understand what you're saying about the incidents happening in the middle high school. And so having that part covered, but if you do that and the outdoor, that's a much larger chunk than what Kara's talking about.
Can I just add something, because this says phase two this is a price increase starting August 1st. What would be a timeline for phase two? Any phase two that we're doing, whether it's the high school first or the elementary, because according to this, there's gonna be a price increase. So what would be a realistic timeline for phase two? Were you thinking that next year? Or
I think we
because then it would be at a higher price?
It would be, and Rich might be able to give us some insight as to what an average cost increase would be, like percentage wise, of the cameras. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah.
Right, well, I mean, we're phase two, if we were gonna be doing it, we're already at June. August 1st is right around the corner, and if we're still deciding on phase one, then phase two, then probably won't be happening and would then be at a higher price.
Right, and then I know that next year, we're already talking about the financial cliff happening next year, so we know we wouldn't be able to pull $200,000 out of a budget to be able to do some cameras next year, and we're.
Well, wait, if you're talking about what you're doing now though is next year. I mean, this first phase.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I know we got this, or one of this is covered or whatever. But now again, for the 25-26 school year, we already know that we're gonna be running a negative budget.
Well, so no, right now you're running a negative budget for 24-25. In 25-26, you're gonna have to talk about what else can happen. So if there is a referendum conversation, this is something that you would peel into that discussion, if it's part of the safety upgrade.
That our word.
But if we do phase one, then, if we agree to do phase one, then we would agree that phase two is coming at some point in time.
Correct.
Like it will go in a time frame that is reasonable.
We could work to figure that out beyond today, what that looks like, but yes, so. I think our quote is good through the 5th of July. So.
Also next week.
Yeah, it's some details, Dr. Beal, yeah. So.
Devil's in the details. Miss Ashley.
So two things go through my mind as we are kind of dissecting what you have here and what you presented here. One being the overall picture of the security. We ended the year talking about security and safety. And I'm wondering, with that, not being just the Brown Deer School District, with districts across, Wisconsin, whether we still have access to other grants to help.
That's school safety, those school safety grants.
Safety, the DOJ grant monies, those kinds of things, and what kinds of things have we done to kind of look at kind of offsetting the cost of this? Because I truly believe that, safety and security is important, and that we bring this back up to, the front of our agendas, if you will, and figure out how we move forward in terms of paying for it.
Yeah, we could continue to seek out, some of those other ones. So the COPS grant, is that the school safety grant? It's a DOT grant.
And is that the $100,000?
So yeah, so this is so the 207, so 100 and change is coming, 124 or whatever is coming out of the COPS grant, to help fund this. So, so
is there another COPS grant that you are aware of?
Should have put a win in. I'd have tripled down, man, and just,
There are possibilities of reapplying for the COPS grant once we've fulfilled our current one.
So we could do, but there's some potential others, you know, we could seek out, you know, some of those options as well.
And we have to spend down this COPS grant by when? What's the time period?
The end.
We have a 3-year total, so it started in October, so.
Okay,
I
so
don't
we
think
got time.
So we got some time, okay.
We just started claiming, we did our first claim for the, it was $27,000 for the protective film at the middle school. I have to do the claim now for the Sonatrol upgrade piece at the middle high school, so those 2 pieces are done. And then there are other pieces that we talked about, protective film at the high school, at the elementary school, radios, and we'll be talking about Sonatrol, there's other stuff, yeah, so that's part of the safety update, but so there are other things still on the docket.
And
Right.
the other, I just had another question, and that had to do with, I mean, let's play pretend for a minute, and we do install these cameras in terms of training and professional development and stuff around just the management of the technology. Is that built into?
So all in, so they're so supportive and ready, and Heartland does also provide other services, but the camera system is so intuitive that it's really helpful, and they do have, you know, as a company itself, Ricardo is amazing.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a helpful.
She had a question.
So it would, it just, yeah, we'd be okay.
Ms. Robinson and then Ms. Peters.
Did we look at any comparable systems to Verkada?
So Axis is the one we currently have, and Verkada is really, there's only 2. So really, so in terms of the big dogs out there, I think that we looked at, because they're that's it, really, you know, in terms of you can go anywhere, like, I don't know, I think you go to Fiserv, I think they have a Verkada, you know, system. So it's like, in terms of SLED education and stuff, there's 2 players. So like, in terms of like, I think some of the other concerns, you know, that you get into if you go to another route, like it's a vendor that maybe isn't supported, or maybe it's not gonna be around for a while, or, you know, that kind of thing, you run into that. So based on some best practice, you know, we compared our current system and then, you know, and then the Verkada. So.
All right, Ms. Peterson and then Ms. Baker.
I was just wondering if there's any way that Verkada can give us what the cost would be if we flip the phases. If we did the middle school now, I know that there is some hesitation in your explanation, and again, this is a lot of information, but I'm still curious to see what it would cost to do phase 2 as phase 1, and then phase 1 as phase 2, because it sounds like there's some agreement, if just a little around the table, that the middle school is the greater concern. And so what would those costs look like to flip these 2
So he gave
Because
us
it's a
the number.
188,669, but then that was without the
Right. That,
$105,000 for the licensing.
Again, if all you're talking about is flipping the 2, you're then talking about doing the interior middle high school first, and then all of the outdoor and the elementary school second. So the outdoor is separate. What he just mentioned over, you know, online with this extra number, that's doing it's basically doing most of the cameras now, doing the outdoor and the indoor.
with the current
With
phase
that,
1.
well, that's a combination. It's like, you know, that's where you're looking at over 200,
Yes.
you know, almost $300,000 in total. And then all you'll have left are the elementary school interior cameras.
Cameras, yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if this is.
Hold on, wait, we out of order. All right, Peter. No, me and Ms. Macon, I'm so sorry.
Okay, so I have a question about technology, of course, you know, changes all the time. And so when we're looking at this 3 versus the 5-year and thinking about upgrades that are normally made to technology and also debugging or whatever to keep the kinks out or in that kind of thing, would you suggest the 3-year or the 5-year plan when you consider the vastness? Then you probably could tell me a little bit more that how much technology changes.
Well, I think the benefit of this system is that where we would keep the system, you know, so, and then the 5-year with realizing like kind of what would be, even though it's $23,000 more, in terms of the, being able, there's a discount for obviously having, the 5 years. So the pricing is always better when you do the 5. I wouldn't be concerned about a 5-year, versus a 3. We just have to figure out how we're gonna fund the other 2 years sooner than later, and depending on, and we try to co-term things and things like that, but predictability wise, we budgetarily, we try to do things like so that we can, in 5-year gaps, so that we can at least know that what's coming.
Okay, so let me kind of clarify. Okay, so you have a 3-year program, you have a 5-year program. Technology changes all the time. Yes, it does cost, get a reduction in the 5-year. Of course, we have to figure out where the money is coming from. But I'm just kind of looking at a program that you have 10 years that you can utilize. You have 3 years or 5 years that you have it. And I'm just thinking that if you get the 3-year and it needs to be debugged or some type of upgrades, between year 3 and year 5, there may be some other costs.
We'd have to license it for per year or for 2 years.
Oh, so still every
The
year.
cameras wouldn't work without a license, right?
Every year.
So
There's a
we would
potential
either,
for-
which is what we do now, we renew every year, because we were, we're kind of, we don't wanna buy a 5-year license on the current system that we have because we're not sure we're gonna keep it,
Okay,
So
So
we
no
buy an
matter-
annual license, yes.
okay, so there's a potential for additional fees with that every
If
year
we
licensing?
did a 3-year license, I'd have to figure out, I would have 3 years to figure out how I'm gonna pay for the licensing for either the next 3 years, the next 5 years, because the cameras have a life 10 years or beyond, so we know that, but they're insured, for sure.
Okay, so.
So there could be an increase in the licensing cost.
Yes,
Between
yeah.
those two, yeah.
Thank you.
Now, my question is, and I think this might be a Kevin question, but if safety is on the forefront of our district, is there a way, because I've heard us talk about loans and things like that, is there a way for us to get everything we need and put a loan on it and pay that back with the grants that we get? But we have everything in place up front?
We wouldn't do a loan, well, you let the grant pay the grant portion. I mean, you do have the ability to borrow up to $1 million.
$1 million from our line of credit.
Without any, interacting with the voters and having to do a referendum. So you do have that option. That's the Fund 38 part of the budget, and you do have to levy for that. And you have to figure out, if you're paying for that over, if you borrow $500,000 and you can pay for it over 5 or 10 years, you have to then set aside money in your operating budget to pay those principal costs. So that's another thing and that comes out of your operating budget as opposed to referendum debt, which is outside of that. So that is just something you have to kind of plan on, that cost has to live within.
So on a safety versus financial decision-making, would that make sense to just get the cameras, have the safety and move in that direction?
It's a prioritization piece. I mean, there's certainly benefit to that. We are again dealing with a situation where we are looking at a deficit. We have other things that are going to be discussed that are other things that would, from a priority from a different standpoint, not necessarily just safety, but also just physical things, the buildings, things like that. So it's not an easy discussion or easy answer that I can say. I mean, we can certainly look into that. I can, if that's something that we want to pursue, of how we would do that. We do a state trust fund loan or things like that. That's what we have done in the past for those sorts of things, and do potentially a short-term loan. But again, you're looking at probably having to carve out 150, if you do a 3 to 5 year loan, you're looking at $50,000 to $75,000 or more every year that you have to carve out to be able to pay that back.
So for me personally, I would like to see the middle high school and the outdoor done. And then worry about the elementary. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it, but if it's a matter of choosing, that would be what I would like to choose from a safety perspective, and all that happens more so in that building than it would at elementary.
Yeah, that is, I think that's kind of where I was at with this before. But you know what, though? Part of an interesting point or whatever, if we were to do, is it Matt or Rich that's on here that we need to talk to right now?
Rich is our trusted advisor, yeah.
All right, our trusted advisor. All right, Rich. So what kind of deal would you give us if we try to do all of it at once?
Tell us that on the phone.
Hey, I'm gonna give it a shot. Well, Rich, could you do this? Could you,
Have your people call.
have your people call our people? Let's find out, seriously, all jokes aside, let's find out, would there be a discount if we were to do this whole thing all in one time? Would there be a significant discount in relationship to doing this? Because this project almost seems like it's gonna be roughly about $400,000 if you were to do both of them.
And we are receiving a very nice discount. I think Rich has said that he's not seen us, like the cameras are almost discounted at about 50%. So we're getting a nice deal. But I think though I think our primary concern is if we decided not to vote tonight, and I imagine he is probably trying to do his math, but I think our primary concern is if we could maybe touch base with Verkada to see if we could extend the quote prior to the, so that we can figure that piece out. It sounds like we would like to move in this direction. We just want to know, what, if we can get a true quote for, yeah.
How long does it take to get that all set up? Like, if we say, yes, go, would it be ready? Like, you need X amount of time before school starts, or what is that time frame?
So they would be, project ready. I don't know their timeline. They said they were about 12 weeks out, but I'm not
So
sure
that's
what
quite a
that
bit of
looks
time. Okay, I
like.
was
So
just
it would
wondering.
be.
That just gives me, that just is some idea that.
I could be wrong. They could be better. They could be better. That was a few months ago when we were talking.
Okay.
So to kind of help guide direction with what Dr. Vito asked, if we're already getting a discount of the camera, it may be helpful to know what would be the difference in cost from what we have now to what it would be when that price increases in August.
Sure. So that we could make that decision. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that from consensus around the board, we're very interested in what's going on. And we want to be able to do it and stuff, but again, we've got to prioritize, where do we think our safety issue is more prevalent at? Is it more prevalent at the middle high school, or is it at the elementary school? What's the cost going to be in relationship to this? I mean, again, this is a lot of information to digest and for us to try to figure out, as well as Kevin, you're going to have to do a little math yourself and trying to do this as well too, so.
Rich just raised his hand. Rich, if you want to, you can unmute, sir, and interrupt at any point, so.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, I've been at this for a long time now, and I have not seen a discount from Verkada this high. They've been working with Brown Deer for the last, I would say, 2 years on kind of discussions here. And when we built this, it was all encompassing with every single school and outdoor. Not saying I can't go back to the team and see what I can do. I can definitely do that, but that has gone up to higher leadership at Verkada. So, but I will give it my best effort. And then any rework you guys want me to do, more than happy to do that to
Rich,
license that.
I know our quote expires, is it the 5th? Is it through the 5th of July? We have one board meeting in July, unfortunately. I think it's the 14th.
No, it's the 23rd.
23rd.
July 23rd.
I don't know, would we, I know the more we delay this, or it creates problems for Verkada and booking it and getting it done, but I'm wondering, would there be an opportunity to kind of rework it? Or I don't know what the board's palette is for us to do it, if we can't extend it, to meet briefly to have a discussion or something.
I think that's kind of where we're at right now, trying to figure out some more of these numbers from a logistical standpoint and trying to be able to do this again. I know as I look around the board, everybody's interested in the system and being able to do this because, again, safety is one of our paramount issues that we have, and we want to be able to continue to make sure that we have our safe facilities and everything else like that. I think that we're just trying to be good stewards of the money and trying to figure out where do we put our bang for our buck, and if there is a way for us potentially to maybe just do all of it, give us a number. Let's figure this whole thing out right now, so that way we have those questions that are answered. Would everybody, board members, would you agree with that summation?
Well, we already,
Go ahead.
so we already have one option, and that's the option you presented today.
Yeah.
The second option you're asking for is give us some numbers taking in consideration the totality of the entire
Well,
job.
that would just be phase 1 and phase 2. So he's already quoted that out,
Okay.
right? So it's the 197 and, you know, so it just, well, that's the whole project.
So 197 and one.
And then,
He said he will go back though.
I think to see I think to talk about maybe extending the timeline of the quote, I think because the quote expires July 5th, so.
So it's
Okay, so we're
174
talking 197.
plus 197.
Plus, wasn't there like another 105,000?
371 based on just the original.
No, I think these prices that you see in her memo include all the licensing. and
Yeah.
everything. That was just when he was doing
Right,
the math.
separately. So it's like 371 based on these two numbers together.
Got it.
Okay, so it's 371, and we've got how much left in that one grant? 140, 120, so then we short about 200.
About 250.
Yeah, this one's two.
And then may I just ask a question? Then they just like you pay it all in one lump sum, right? That's what they would want. Yeah. Okay.
And we just have that in the budget.
No, I know we don't, but I was just wondering, like, it's not a payment plan or something, like you don't pay like some now and some, you know, you just pay it all now.
That would be pretty.
You put
Yeah, really.
a payment
They
down,
wait.
pay the balance upon
They'll
completion or something.
Right, yeah, it wouldn't be those years, I mean,
Right,
they want it all.
it's something minimal. Okay, I was just wondering, thank you.
But, you know, then you do look at, you know, if there is a little bit of time, you know, if we do have that option to extend it, say till July 23rd. And we're able to let the board, you know, just kind of
Marinate.
think about that, kind of look at some financing options. It could be that we'll have a better sense by then, maybe what what our fund balance will be of Fund 10 after this year closes out, and we get some other things figured out over the next few weeks. And that may help answer your question too, or you'll feel more comfortable on that side. So, you know, I guess the real question is if
Will they extend off?
will they be able, would they, knowing the interest of where we are and what the board is likely to do, would we be able to get the quote extended till the 23rd till we have our next meeting?
Yeah, Rich, do you have a sense if that would be acceptable?
I will definitely bring it up to Verkada, but either way, you know, if I have to take that, I can take that from my side. So
Okay.
definitely to extend some grace there, for sure.
That would be great, because I think if you're understanding us, I think we'd like to try to do the whole thing, which is about a 180 from where we were before, which is awesome. I appreciate it. So, but I think it speaks to what we're trying to do, so.
All right, so we are in agreement that you're going to be able to extend, and then the board, and then we'll get all of the numbers. Kevin to look into some financing aspects of this whole thing, get those numbers back out to the board for us to be able to make a decision at the July 23rd board meeting and stuff, because like I said before, I think that we're probably, well, again, I'm not gonna talk for the entire board, but it's almost rather than do the piecemeal, it's almost like, you know, if we can turn around and we can do it, figure out a way to be able to finance it and just go ahead and move forward.
It's not like in time, we're not gonna need it. We still need.
We always gonna need
You're gonna pay
it.
for an hour later. And if you.
Yeah, you're gonna pay for it.
Cheaper now.
Speaking of now later, let me get one of those breaks. It's a break.
I appreciate it. And I don't mean to delay it anymore, and I do apologize, because I think what we're trying to do is, again, given everything that you're going to see coming out, we're just trying to be reasonable in what we were approaching you with, so that it would be more palatable, I think, but understanding that it is a priority, and I do think, like, we wouldn't be here asking for it if we didn't think that it was the right decision.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
so let's go ahead and move forward. It's been a nice little chunk of time here.
Right.
Let's go to Jay. Matt, talk to us.
That's me.
Oh, you wanna do J right away?
No, the preliminary.
Oh, preliminary, I just jumped over this.
You can just vote on that.
Preliminary budget.
It's not accurate now, but that's fine. I'll go real briefly. Let me need to share my screen so that I'll be able to. So again, this is, you've seen two other drafts of this so far. And so again, very preliminary budget. It is our first stab at it to have something in place before July 1st. We start our fiscal year next week. And so I haven't made a lot of changes, just filled in some of the gaps that we didn't know earlier.
That's why.
So I'll scroll ahead here to, again, our student counts haven't changed. We're still going with these projections right now. We have our open enrollment in and out that we've discussed before. We're not really making any changes. I did make our adjustment to our revenue limit projection based on that prior year open enrollment number that we got from BPI. So we are looking at about a $24 million revenue limit with exemptions next year. We are also looking at, and this may change now with the news that's happening in MPS with potential reassessment of their costs and how that impacted us last year, which equalization aid, they may end up taking a hit and it may go back to the districts that kind of took the hit last year, if that's what the cause of that was. So it's possible these numbers are low. I'll get more information probably after July 1st when they start doing the aid estimates, but that's something that we'll have to look at as well. I did now this time include our anticipated levies for Fund 39 and Fund 80. And this is the point to make out that, again, if we were to take out a loan in Fund 38, this would be that Fund 38 non-referendum debt. We'd be adding that little piece to this to that equation. But right now we are looking at about just under $7 million for an operational tax levy. Our scheduled referendum debt levy for next year is about 2.9 million. It's just under slightly from where we were this year, which means we're looking at our total levy. And as of right now, when we get to Fund 80, I'll explain that really quickly. But right now, we'll continue to have, without a tax levy next year, I'm anticipating about a $50,000 fund balance at the end. So I don't know that we need to tax there. We could probably just hold off one more year because we've had to shift costs into other funds. So right now, between those two, we're looking at a $9.8 million total levy. Now, the one caveat to this is that the impact of vouchers could impact this. So if we have another $300,000 or $400,000 to go into the voucher expense, that's going to eat into that levy piece. But right now, this early projection, potentially, we would be looking at a property tax decrease of $1.2 million. But as I've said before, I would automatically say the board should strongly consider increasing the referendum debt levy to match that, to get us at least flat, and then have that money to defease debt again next year, which will reduce our long-term costs. And then if there is a question that we want to present to the community, $1.2 million of that cost would already be in the tax levy already. So that would help reduce whatever that initial ask would happen to be. So again, we'll have more conversations about that. Looking at general operations, not a lot of changes here. I do update this as I get hiring done. We have right now about 15 positions that are still open. Most of them are at the elementary school that we're still working through. And I have not had the vast majority of our new hires, even the ones that you've approved, have not gone through benefit enrollment yet. So having the actual numbers for that. So you're going to see with the openings we've had with other people resigning, when I get to the expense part, revenues haven't changed from what we had before, but the expense part, if you compare this to a previous budget, my health insurance went up because as people left and maybe were on single or no coverage, I put them into family. So that's higher than I'm hoping it's going to be in the end, but that's something that we're looking at as part of the budget. And no other major changes. I have not currently accounted for the purchase of the English curriculum we just talked about, the reading curriculum, but we did mention that will be probably a holdover of ESSER funding. So we'll have some additional revenue that's not in this budget. That $220,000 or $230,000 will hold and use that to purchase the curriculum.
Another question. I'm still waiting to find out or whatever, because something has got to come down the pipe. Since they're trying to make every district turn around under that Act 20 and be able to change to these reading curriculums and stuff like that, that the state, because of the vast surplus of dollars, they're not gonna turn around through the Department of Public Instruction and bring some of that money down because they're making us buy these curriculums and stuff in order to make do it.
When that might be.
Yeah, I was just asking for, have you been to any meetings where has anything else been spoken about or what? Because there hasn't been anything in the
No,
SWSA
there's
meetings
been
or
a
anything
big
like that.
conversation about reimbursement. However, not every package is available for reimbursement and ours is not. We talked about that 2 weeks ago because ours is aligned to the standard, but it wasn't one of the four that the Joint Finance Committee, I think, allowed through as potential reimbursable reimbursable vendors. However, the reimbursable amount is a fixed amount that they're saying might be up to 50% in a year or two. So it's not even immediate, it's something down the road. So instead, we're just gonna use federal funding that we have available and they'll help pay for that. So I'm not really gonna worry about the reimbursement piece down the road because I don't know whether or if it will come. On the positive side, and I think I heard this correctly, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. The other conversation we had last time was about the screener.
Yes,
The screener though is being paid by the state of Wisconsin for the,
it's apparently being negotiated.
they're
Yes.
negotiating. So that, so
Yeah,
this
so-
elementary school screener that we were talking about, it's only affecting the reading grades in the K4 through third grader, K5 through third grade. And the state is negotiating a contract with that company to address that. All school districts will have to adopt it, but it somehow will be paid for by the state. It doesn't change our use of FastBridge for the rest of our grade levels, which we already pay for and use and have training. We were, I think, last week we were talking about the fact, like, we have to throw this out and have this highly new product that we're gonna have to pay for and train everybody and have all this.
Well, and probably keep our own product
Right.
because the one product is geared toward the littles and, so what kind of data is that gonna give us for our older kids? And so now our dilemma is to really kind of figure out, we may not use, I think high school would prefer to use a different tool to assess, so they may not use FastBridge, but it might go to middle school and then high school might use a different tool. So there should be some savings there as well.
So we'll look through that. That's all like caught up for us and stuff. So, so then, and then I looked at Fund 27. We do continue to have some costs there. The budget is pretty close to what it was before. Hoping to see an increase in our state categorical aid, which will help reduce our transfer from Fund 10. And again, we'll also look to see what our transfer is at the end of this current fiscal year. The current operational budget deficit right now, it did, again, because of those insurance questions and things, it did creep back up a little bit, still under what it was in April, but we're in that $965,000 mark. Again, I do anticipate that to come down, but we are also gonna have to make some decisions and we're starting to have those conversations. Obviously, as Dr. Cotton comes in next week, we may start looking at some of the things that we're doing and see if we can, look for additional savings. And as we finalize our hiring, that'll be the big piece of it. So that's kind of the Fund 10 and Fund 27, the operational piece. Any questions on those? And then I'll kind of race through the other funds really quickly, just so you can highlight them. Fund 21, which is the student activity accounts, we don't really budget for. I will have updated information, but that's one that the $25,000 we just received this evening will be a that's a Fund 21 revenue. We'll move expense into that to help pay for the renovations to the baseball field. So that'll be a switch coming out of Fund 10, so that'll save us some money there. The one thing I wanted to note about the Fund 38 non-referendum debt service, we did actually, and this is before we had this conversation earlier, but we did actually have some fund balance sitting in there, which we are moving into Fund 10. So that we'll actually have another $103,000 that's going to be added to our fund balance this year, which is positive. We'll be kind of closing this out. This is something we've been trying to do for a couple of years, but had difficulty with the auditors getting the right entry to do that. So we'll be clearing out Fund 38. Again, unless we decide to borrow some additional money, then that will be coming up with them. Our debt service for Fund 39, these are updated numbers for this coming year. This is not, this doesn't have any defeasance involved, but certainly we could look at adding a defeasance if we feel like we're going to be, if that's the plan of the board, as I get closer to actually being able to estimate an actual tax levy, I would kind of include that defeasance piece in the budget then, so we're all on the same page. Fund 46, the Long-Term Capital Improvement Trust, we haven't added anything to it, but we have had interest. Made about $26,000 for the money that's sitting in there, so we have about $586,000. I am anticipating that we will have some expenses next year out of Fund 46, so that will start to go down. And we can, Matt will probably have some things to say about that. I just wanted to real briefly, just so, not to get too deep in the weeds, but I just wanted you to know, with the Fund 46 situation. Districts, when you're aided, when you get your equalization aid, you are based on your property value. You're either aided more when you spend more money, or you're aided less when you spend more money. And so for many years, when I first got on the board, we were a negatively aided district. So the more we spent, the less aid you got. We are now positively aided. So the more we spend, the more we get an equalization aid. So the Fund 46 was actually a tool designed for those negatively aided districts, so that you put money aside, you kind of can plan on, I'm gonna put the money aside in a specific year. I expense it, it's part of that shared cost. And then I don't have to worry about when I actually spend the money to actually fix the thing that we're talking about doing. You can control that a little bit better. For us, because we're positively aided, whether the money comes out of Fund 10 or Fund 46, doesn't matter. The more money we spend, I mean, actually, it's actually better for us to spend it on a Fund 10, because then it is, it's part of our shared cost. It is a part of our shared cost out of Fund 46. So we haven't done a lot of moving the money over there, or tried to do it, because when I started to see what was coming, I thought it's better off just to leave it in Fund 10. Because once you put it in Fund 46, it stays there, and it can only be used on that capital improvement plan. So we have more flexibility leaving it in Fund 10. So it's not that Fund 46 doesn't have value, but in our current situation, we're actually better off spending it out of Fund 10. So I tend to leave things in Fund 10. And that way we have, again, more flexibility with how to spend it down the road. So, and then our food service, that I'm still working through with Aramark. We're working through that budget, but just to give you a sense of where that's headed. We talked about that Fund 73 Employee Benefit Trust last year. We don't do anything with that. That's just money that's sitting in some HRA accounts. And then we have our community service fund. So our community service fund right now is our CLC program at the elementary school, the Elite Falcon Partners program, which is our retirees that help out in the district. Some costs for the village newsletter, and then personnel costs associated with outside facility usage. Our SRO is now in Fund 10, so that cost is no longer here. So as you can see, this year we're anticipating, we didn't tax in that levy. We did not levy in Fund 80 this year, because we had several years where we didn't spend hardly any money in it, and so we just let that drop down. So we're expecting our ending fund balance to be over $100,000. If we don't levy again, we'll see it drop probably to about 50 or 25 or 50. So I'll probably recommend leaving it at zero again. We don't need a ton of money sitting in there, and that'll help provide us more flexibility for that Fund 39. So this is the entire budget. This goes through Fund 80. And again, this is just the preliminary blueprint. This is how we started spending the money. The conversations we had tonight, obviously with the spending on the curriculum, whatever we decide over the next few weeks with the camera purchase, some other things that are going on, we'll make those adjustments and have a better sense of where we are. And we'll have a better sense of how 23-24 is finishing up as we get the end of the fiscal year this week.
Questions for Mr. Clement in relationship to this preliminary budget? Lot of moving pieces.
There are a lot of
I have a kind of a little question when it comes to, and I'm not sure whether or not this is the right place for it, but when I'm looking at the budget for K, 4K, in kindergarten, of course, we have half day. So we definitely lose kids because we don't have all day kindergarten. And I know we've had that conversation in the past. It really could be a way for us to keep our kids. We're losing 11 or 12.
Well, see, the only problem with that is K4 program, as you already know and stuff, you only get 50, you only get half of what the thing is, and then you get another 10% if you're doing the family engagement piece. So what we do is we have the morning one, and then we have the afternoon. So for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much a wash. I think one of the big things is that the state actually needs to identify K4 as a full day program, and so it should be 100%. But it's in state statutes right now, the K4 is not a recognized grade level for that or whatever have you. Now, I know that there was some things that actually went to in front of the state for potentially, hey, how do you turn around and make K4 a full day, 100% or whatever, but I guess it failed. And I'm quite sure it's probably gonna come back again because there's all this money right now because they're talking about childcare and the importance of childcare and all the rest of this stuff. But I guarantee you, if we were able to get for K4, full day K4 and 100% of the dollars, I'm quite sure that we'd be doing that. And then that takes us all the way over to Algonquin now, whatever, to something totally different. But I'm gonna leave that alone right now.
The challenge is if you made all of our, we had, as you mentioned, 4 sections, 2 half day each for our 2 teachers. If we made them all full day, we wouldn't get any additional money and we'd have 2 more staff members to pay. So that wouldn't be a cost effective.
But when you get the money back for the kids that stayed in the district, when we have 11 or 12 that are going out?
Well, potentially you would get some more money, but then you have class sizes. So then we need, if we have 22 kids in every class, because that's about where we are with the 88 kids. I mean, if we added 10 or 12, would we be too big? We'd have to add a 5th teacher. I don't know. That's again, that's.
Okay, for you gotta do 17.
So it's gonna be a problem no matter what.
Well, I'm just saying it would be a lot easier if they were providing us full reimbursement, not reimbursement, but a full FTE for all those 4K kids, not just the
And
26.
there's no full, we can't get the full FTE for the 5-year-old?
No,
5-year-olds, yes. 5-year-olds, you get 100%.
But we don't have it all day.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do. K5 is all day long. K4 is half day.
Oh,
This
okay,
kid-
I got it, okay. Okay.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Clemick in relationship to this prelim?
Otherwise,
budget?
looking at an approval tonight.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion? I was gonna say that we need to wait. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the preliminary budget as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024-25 preliminary budget as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Motion made, second.
Second.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Megan. Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor with raised hand and or aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously, 7-0. All right, so now let's go to our facilities and grounds report.
You sure you wanna do this after all this?
Yeah, we might as well go ahead and do it.
This is just information.
Yeah.
Good evening, board. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. I haven't done one in a little while and wanted to give you a quick update. We have the North Commons projects going on right now, which is part of an Aramark thing, so that's helping us out with getting new food service kind of venture of way that we bring out food to our children in the North Commons area. So that's going swimmingly. We only had a small little problem and that problem was taken care of right away. So we're back on track and moving right along. We're looking to be done the 2nd week of August at that kind of time, as long as everything stays on track. Then let's see here, we have the tennis courts are gonna finally get the cracks filled and all that other good stuff to make it a lot more safer for our children. That is gonna be starting next week, Monday. They're gonna go in there, they're gonna fill up, they're gonna smooth all the cracks and then fill them, and so that way we can get what you guys approved us back in the 1st week of August, finally can get repaired. And then we'll kind of go from there. Let's see.
Question there, is it
Yes.
the stuff that we're doing for the tennis courts, is it gonna be one of these 2 companies, this Everline or the Suburban Asphalt that'll be doing that?
No, it's Munson. Munson is the athletic company that we go through that actually installed the tennis courts and they installed our track and field.
I thought Munson was both.
Actually talk, this would be much more interesting.
Some people didn't catch that.
Can I just ask a quick question about the tennis court renovation? Like, what was the delay that took it till now? Because I thought when we approved that, it was supposed to be
they
done before
cannot-
tennis season.
They cannot do their, they were already booked out last, we approved. They cannot start installing anything until the temperature stays above 50 degrees. So whatever projects ended early, they started right at the beginning part of the spring, and then they finish, and then they came to us. And we actually had cancellations, so they called us up and said, hey, we have cancellation. And I jumped on top of that as fast as possible.
Okay. Just wondering.
And I will say that most companies right now, especially with the athletic parts, are scheduled out almost 2 years now.
Wow.
So, the fact that they were able to get into us, almost a year later was pretty nice. I know it's a smaller project, so I'm sure that they were like, we can just get this done and over with, but be okay.
Okay, thank you for the.
Of course.
Education.
So I'll just quick jump onto this Otis one. This Otis, as you will see here, that is a recommendation by Otis, who is our service for the elevators. This is not part of our capital plan currently right now. And what I'm going to plan to do is add this to our capital plan and talk to Kevin about some more things that may be coming up. But this is a capital investment plan that we didn't really see coming. But considering that our elevator has been here since the early 70s.
I'm surprised we did not when we redid the building and we did all that we didn't add in the elevator as part of that project.
And you on the dollar amount probably was the thing that kept you.
But that was there.
No, we'll see, but again, though, that 175, that's about standard, because I had to get one replaced at St. Joe's. And I'm like, and it's only 2 stores. I'm like,
That's only replacing the cylinder.
right, I'm saying.
So that's not replacing the cart, that's not anything like that, that's just replacing the cylinder.
Who would commonly use that elevator?
A lot.
Special needs?
Special needs students, my staff.
Food service to get food up and down.
Yeah, food service uses it, the library uses it. It gets plenty of use. And,
I'm surprising his lasted this long.
Right?
well, I mean, we get it inspected every year. We try to maintain it as best as possible. I know I just had them here 3 times for door closure that stop, so we are working on it.
Matt, could you take this, and I'm probably just speaking from the same board, it's probably feeling the same. Could you take this? I know that we had put together that 5-year, 10-year
Yeah, and that's
plan that we had in there.
I'm gonna add that to-
Could you add that into this and stuff? Because again, if we have to do referendum and stuff, all of this stuff is gonna need to go into it or whatever, because these are big purchases.
Yep, these are big ticket items, and I talked to Kevin about this, and we're gonna add it to the CIP.
Okay.
And then we'll bring it back to the board for approval. I'm just kind of giving you guys a little bit of a heads up that this was brought to my attention, and
What was the specific, so like it's broken now?
no, it's
working,
not
it just
broken
needs
now.
maintenance?
When I was talking to the gentleman from Otis, is that they are finding that the elevators that were built in this era are starting to have failures. And there's no more parts to replace it. So instead of being reactive and having an elevator that absolutely doesn't work, they're trying to.
Or breaks down while somebody's in it.
Right.
And they're trying to be proactive and say, hey, you might want to start thinking about this.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
So how long after this part will it last before we need an entirely new elevator?
I couldn't tell you.
They don't give you like an estimate on like.
I'm gonna just say that we've had this elevator in there since the 70s. I would imagine that we could probably keep this elevator in there for another 20 years probably. It all depends on the amount of usage. It depends on the amount of weight we throw in there every single time. There's too many variables to tell you that it could last 5 years, and we have to spare parts because something that was made wrong.
So then,
Can't give you a yes or no to any of that kind of thing.
being the me that I am,
Yes,
then I'd like to know how much is a new one?
you're probably looking at 400,000 to 500,000.
Easy, easy. And what is that building? 3 stories or 2? Yeah.
Cause I'm just thinking versus paying 200,000 to fix
With 175.
versus 400,000 for a new one.
And that's just me, I would say it's probably more like the 500,000 marker.
Easy.
And that's only because we have an existing square, so to speak, that they could potentially work with, but I couldn't even tell you.
What I would say is that, again, as we have these conversations about the future and what that looks like, I think some discussions, if you're looking at something bigger, then this is the kind of thing that you might say, okay, yeah, let's replace the whole thing, but if it's something that we're trying to do out of an operating budget one year, then it probably the less expensive version, it does the job.
For me, like what would be most useful is you're asking me to decide between safety and I guess safety, but how can we choose a broken elevator over cameras? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not giving me a piece, like, we can decide on all of this, or I have to make a decision, I can only get one thing. This would be most useful, because now something else is coming up as well, and without that piece, it's hard for me to say, well, what do we need the most? Can we even pay for everything? And if I knew that, then it would make my decision.
The answer is no, we can't.
But yet if you say we need
That's
it,
that
and how do you
referendum.
decide, like I said, how do you decide between like, we need a new elevator, we need new cameras, they're both safety and we need them both, but is one a priority over the other? Do I have to make that kind of determination? Because we simply can't pay for both at the same time.
Well, I think, Lisa, I think part of the thing and stuff, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know that since we're talking about like the thing with the elevator is not a thing, it's gotta happen like ASAP, like right now.
Right.
It's something that we can turn around and we can put into that facilities plan. Remember the facility
Yeah,
plans, like what was the,
Each thing they went
it
through.
was like,
yeah,
hey, what was the
I
highest
remember that.
priority?
Right.
Yeah, but the camera thing is probably if I had to do something right now, I gotta get these cameras or whatever have you and stuff, because that is the biggest safety issue now. The relationship to yeah, we gotta spend that money also from that grant. But I also think too, with the elevator or whatever have you, we may be able to get away with this thing for another 5 years or whatever. God,
Right,
hopefully.
how do you, that's the variable you don't know, so that's kind of what I.
That's just almost like anything else that we have, like with the air conditioned units and everything else, so,
Okay.
yeah.
It's just like.
I understand completely where you're going with
Am I
that.
deciding between things that we can't pay for anyways, or what do you know? What?
Well, I think
So,
I think that's where part of the answer would be like looking at our future and then saying like, what, if we feel like we have these needs coming up, that to be all inclusive, what does that look like? And then what does that require?
Yeah, exactly, that's right,
Right.
exactly.
And that's it, these are the conversations, so as we start to throw these things out at you and the community, that's where we start to develop this equation to be able to say, this is really what we're gonna have to look at going forward. And so this is just the starting point of that conversation.
Okay, thank you.
I wanna just kind of look outside of the box a little bit. Can you get a pricing to see what it would cost in opposition to the elevator for an escalator? Cause I know that sometimes escalators.
I do not think that we can.
I mean, they do it at.
No, but based on,
there and it goes
based
up.
on what she used, what they use
You
it
got
for.
you got babies that have those needs and what wheelchairs and stuff like that, so they can't get on that.
I know, but I'm just saying, if they have the app, I'm just saying, if there's a app, I mean, if you can put a card on and have it connected and it goes up, there's nothing
be
that's
cheap.
created. I'm
we
just
have
saying, check
something-
it,
But
I'm
the
just
thing
saying,
is,
check
like,
it to it,
we
that's all
have-
I said.
We have
It's thinking
something on
outside
the
the box.
second floor of the elementary
Uh-huh.
for emergencies to get a wheelchair down the stairs. It hasn't been used in quite some time, but it's there.
Oh, what now? I'm sorry.
It's just a device to get a wheelchair down the stairs in an
Yeah,
emergency.
It's emergency.
Right, that's all I'm saying. Just another option instead of a elevator, think outside the box of whatever. I don't know what it is, but if you have a facility, have something that gets you down the stairs and up the stairs. I know they have things on the side of stairs. I'm just saying it would be cheaper. That's all. Maybe. I doubt it.
Well, the thing is, if you take the machines up,
To get an elevator. I mean,
When somebody
people moving down
falls,
the
it will
stairs.
cost us a lot of money.
But they have them in houses, they have them in schools, like you said, you have them already.
You're not
I'm just
targeting.
wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I worked over there and I was the nurse over there and there was no way I would take a kid who
On
could
that
breathe
down those
down
stairs.
any,
And
no.
remember, all of our stairs are, I think every one is.
Yeah, and if there
As
was
a
a,
landing, it's not a straight shot, like you can't just
Yeah.
go up, you know, in one fell swoop, you have to stop, turn around and go up the rest of the
Yeah.
way, so that you're really looking at two.
and if we had an
That's the way it
emergency, like if the paramedics had to get a kid or an adult, we definitely need the elevator.
All right.
Good thought though.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, there's no bad ideas.
Right.
All right, Matt.
All right, that brings me to my next part, which is parking lots. I gave you guys just a couple quotes that I have out there. The one from Everline is really just kind of like a patch and repair kind of scenario. This one is they fill the cracks, they cover a couple of the potholes that we have. They resurface it and repaint it, and that's what it's gonna be. That one, if we were to say yes to that, would be roughly about $38,000 just for that. The one from Suburban is a little bit more detailed. And what that is that that's including the back parking lot of the ASC, which is in dire need of repair. We have.
Where the locker rooms are at?
No, right back here, the parking lot, right back here. Right below us.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm saying, well, where the football locker rooms are at.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That is in dire need of repairs. We are looking at adding a catch basin. We're looking at repitching a bunch of the parking lot. I don't know if you've ever been down the back part of the stairs. If you look at the bottom of the stairs, there's a little pit right before you hop off. It's repairing all of the trip hazards and all this. But then you have, we have some pretty extensive potholes that are sitting in the high school parking lot. We have the U-shaped part of the driveway that is in need of repairs. These are all things that, if you want to call them safety issues during the winter that we have, because these are all where the ice puddles up and there's really nothing we can do about it. And potentially we could run into problems down the line with some of these catch basins if they start collapsing. So, in this scenario, this would be just taking care of the ASC and the middle high school up here.
And that's that Everline.
No, that's the Suburban Asphalt.
Suburban, okay.
And Suburban Asphalt is actually the company that we've used a couple times here at the district already. But all in all, you're probably looking at 125,000. If not a little bit better.
I mean, I guess my question.
Again, this is just preliminary and this was just one company. But if we wanted to address something like this, they are looking at an 6 to 8 week out. Looking 6 to 8 weeks out and they'd stop working pretty much in like late September. And they don't start back up until, you know, spring.
That was what my question was gonna be, how long would it take him to do this? And like we would have come to
Once they
school
started it, it'd probably take them at least a solid week. I would imagine a solid week if the weather cooperated and they were just able to stay on it, but here we are on something that doesn't help.
And I would imagine that everybody else is waiting in line.
Yep,
To do the
and
same thing.
they Suburban said that, you know, the sooner we can let them know, the better off we are, so that we can get them scheduled. But like I said, I'm not, I'm just kind of informing you guys right now. And if you guys want me to, get, more quotes, I absolutely will. But I think that this is something that we need to think about because winter's coming and I hate to say it, but we're already over the halfway part of the summer. And yeah.
Yeah, even if we approve this now, it probably wouldn't happen until right
Next year.
before school starts.
And that's.
If it could happen this year,
It'd
it
be
would
next
be
year.
right.
It'd be
before
next
school
year.
starts.
They would,
Yeah.
he said he would try his darndest to get us to be able to get it before the school year starts, but he wasn't gonna guarantee anything.
And then don't we have to have more than one quote?
We have two. Don't we have two?
No, that's for something else, right?
It's the,
Completely comparable.
right, it's not apples to apples.
Apples to apples.
Right, because Everline was about 37,000 for the striping and for some of the other stuff and the cracks and stuff like this, where Suburbans is.
Very more detailed.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is just an informational kind of thing, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a shining light of what's to come. Now, I know that I've spoken with Kevin and, you know, those numbers that he just got done sharing with you will drastically, change if I, need any of this. Again, I will go out and get more quotes, to make it apples to apples. As far as like Suburban Asphalt, I do know that there's a couple of our companies that have agreed to come out. But this is just kind of more of, here's what's coming down the road for us. I think that, you guys need to be aware of this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Was this already on our, was this already on the long-term strategic, the long-term facilities plan?
Is part of our CIP.
Okay.
What number was that? Remember how you prioritized with the red, blue, green?
I do not recall off the top of my head, and that number was like all inclusive of like,
Yeah.
at some point they'll need to be resurfaced, you know,
Right.
so that was including that, but if we need to do if we're not ready to do that, which I think that was 7 figures.
Yeah.
What?
Redo all the parking lots. Right.
All the figures, if I had to redo all the parking lot, yeah, we're looking close to one something.
So I mean, so if we just want to do a patchwork thing to start, you know, that's the less expensive option. Because obviously, like this whole parking lot area was done in the 2012 referendum, so it's about 12 years where we really haven't done anything outside of patching.
Just one other question, and that is in terms of safety. So, yeah, the particular area that is of like concern in terms of.
For me, if you want my professional opinion, the U-shaped part of the front of the parking lot is a safety issue for me, because of how it's pitched and how it's starting to come apart, and where the water is now standing, because it's not going in the right directions. So that's, for me, that's a winter red flag for me for ice spots that, you know, even if we do have someone that comes out here and salt, how fast will that puddle refreeze and create a slick spot? You know, as many times as we have people walking around. And then I guess the second spot for me, I guess would be behind the ASC, just because our water kind of puddles everywhere back here, and if you've seen back here, the parking lot's actually starting to fall apart because we have standing water in so many spots, and it's not pitched in the right direction. Like every time it rains, the rain that we got this morning, our garage was flooded, so we had water in the garage this morning. And that was like 45 minutes to an hour rain that we had water in the garage. So every time it rains, we get water inside of the building. And then we also had water down at the bottom of the ASC this morning as well. So.
I mean, I feel like that's a really unsafe area too, because even though it says no parking, if you go by there any early morning, everyone that walks parks there, and there's
We-
at
we
least
have-
2
we
to 10
have,
cars of parked there, and it's just very.
I think I've
busy.
watched a total of like 24 people first thing in the morning when I show up here at 6 a.m. There's been like 20 some people out on that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, all the time,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
the
you
early
park there.
morning, and they all
Yeah.
park there, yeah, everyone
Yeah.
parks there, even though it says no parking, and so. You bring up a good point, yeah, people are parking there, and it's very unsafe.
All right, anything else, my friend?
I mean, there's 100 different things I can bring up, but you
No,
know.
let's not bring all. I think we're at sticker shock right now.
Okay, one more.
Carol, we're already
Yeah, y'all batting 1,000. And then the poor Gerald just been sitting there for the longest for one item.
Oh, no, because I could also tell you that, you know, we have to start thinking about the track and field repairs.
Okay.
We knew about that before.
I know we've been talking about that for some time. But that is something that, I am going to start bringing contractors out to get quotes for. The last quote I think I got, and Gerald, you can kind of correct me on this. I think it was like right around the 125,000 marker
For the track.
for the track.
I heard was long time.
So we're looking at that, and unfortunate problem is.
Me
with-
again, I feel like it's great for the community. We say, yeah, come use the track for free, but the fact of the matter is people don't take care of it. For instance, this weekend I saw someone who had their kid's car riding along with them on the track. And I see dogs and other cars and things that aren't supposed to be on there. And it makes me absolutely crazy because we're talking about spending money to repair these things. How do we keep those people out of there? And, or do we just take it away from everybody because they're gonna damage it?
Those
Plain
cameras.
and simple.
Well,
Plain and simple.
So unfortunately,
Use a lot of
there is-
stuff.
All right, wait, one person at a time, let's stay focused.
Unfortunately, there's only a couple solutions. There's the solution where, you know, we take the track away from the community. And
Can't do that.
No.
we can't do that. Or we put a different entrance into the area, which is more restrictive. But as much as I'm gonna tell you this right now is that we can put a restrictive entrance in there, but this
Oh,
is
they'll find
only
a
a
way
6-foot fence.
Right, they'll find a way around it.
They'll find a way,
They can't get
they'll
across
they'll chuck the bike over,
Mhm.
they'll drop the
They will.
the strollers, they'll do whatever they need to get it and everything. Now,
Could we have better signage?
That sign ain't gonna make no difference.
I just put more signs up there, no parking, and
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Well, because
Unless
that
someone
traffic-
stands out there every day and goes, sorry, you cannot park here.
Well,
That's-
parking is one thing, but if you have a list of no motorized
Okay,
vehicles, no,
and on
whatever.
weekends,
Yeah.
am I gonna have to hire someone to come here and stand here because guarantee you someone will come
They'll
here.
do it.
with a
Well,
vehicle.
I guess.
People are more likely to do it if you don't tell them not to do it, for sure. Everybody's not
Well,
gonna.
right now, there is a sign that
Some people
sits
will.
right outside of the thing that says,
There is.
no bicycles,
Yeah.
no motorized
No,
vehicles.
yeah,
There
there's a
there
big
are
sign out
signs.
there.
I mean, it's not a billboard. I mean,
but
we
it's
could,
a
we could
sign.
build a
It's
billboard
obvious.
that says, here's what you can't do on this.
Well, it ain't gonna make no difference. And then I guess the other biggest piece is that everybody that's on that track is from Brown Deer. So let's just go ahead, let's move through because we're not gonna solve this problem right here, right now. So
So-
anything else, Matt?
Summer school, or summertime cleaning is in full effect. We have, our great team that is working at the middle high school right now. Redoing all of the floors, getting everything prepped and ready. We're gonna be doing some classroom moving, for the middle school people this year. We're taking the 8th graders and moving them back to their original spot down in the main hall. And we're gonna be taking the 6th graders and putting them at the end of the south wing, so. Excuse me, there's a few great details on that on the column. Other than that, No, we're good right now.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, let's go on to our next item, safety update.
All right, safety update. Just giving you a little tidbit. We've, like Kevin said earlier, we've withdrawn so far 21,844 out of our COPS grant. Kara and Kevin and I are discussing what's next to come. As you guys can tell, we're very happy of wanting to spend her share right now. And I'm ecstatic about it. And then we have, let's see here. We finished up with all of the sound control parts minus one door. They're coming to do a update on the sound control part July 5th. And we just went through all the fobs from the middle high school. Marie is doing a fantastic job of doing that. She's got the elementary school, I believe, left, and then we should be back to square one as far as that is concerned. So we're just waiting for school to end to finish up all the rest of the people, and then we'll have all that interest. So that's my safety update, unless someone, Kevin or Kara, have something else to add to that.
Any other questions? Safety wise? Oh, all right. Let's go on to our next item, approval of board vacancy candidate. All right, so of course, we did our interviews. For that, we did everything in open session. So now with that being said, would someone like to make a motion to approve Meredith Welch to fill the current board vacancy starting July 23rd, 2024?
I would like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Ms. Meredith Welch to fill the current board vacancy as presented.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Do we need the effective date?
I wanted to put down there July 23rd.
On July 23rd, 2024.
Thank you.
And it runs through April.
April, yep. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made and seconded. All right, all in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Okay, wait, hold on. All right. All in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
You say nay. You say no.
Okay. All right, motion carries 5-2. Yep, thank you very much. All right, let's go on to our next item. Walker and Megan. All right, let's go on to our next item.
Mr. McGregory's online. He had to.
I know he had said something about it before. All right, can we go on to approval of our swimming starting block purchase? Mr. McGregory.
Yes, Dr. Vito.
All right, sir, we are financial partner for the swimming start block purchase. Could you tell us a little bit about it, sir?
So what I'm hoping to do is our starting blocks are way overdue to be replaced. I don't know if you guys saw the executive summary, but I don't know when the last time they were replaced. And with the donation that we got today from Coach Gangler, I was hoping to reallocate the monies that was allocated for the baseball, softball fields. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know if we can do that, but I think he wanted it allocated.
No. He's the extra.
No, you approved to pay for the softball and baseball field renovation. So this money that he donated would now get applied to that. And then because you committed $25,000.
Okay, all right, okay.
You would shift that fund out to.
Okay, thanks for the clarity, because that definitely are restricted.
Yeah, okay. All right, so Gerald, that's Mr. McGregory. So that is your recommendation that we need this now?
Yes, because the blocks are like if you touch them, they actually move, and that's not good. So we need to get on that like ASAP before the start of the fall season.
Okay. All right.
The only thing I'll just add is just so you do know, the dollar amount is basically a wash, but just so you know that the softball, baseball repair was in this fiscal year. This will be in the next fiscal year, so we'll have less money we're spending in Fund 10, and that might be more money spending in Fund 10 this year, so it's just gonna offset each other over time. But so the deficit, the surplus may be higher next year, but now it might be a little larger deficit based on the timing of the purchase, but that's where we are because of this will be done in July.
So what was the amount that we approved?
Oh, it was 20, was it?
It was more than, it was in the 30s, I think, because we did both baseball and softball, so so this $24,000 obviously is just under what the $25,000 was.
All right.
Well, so we will take that money from the softball and apply it, and then the
With the
remainder we'll use for the fields.
Yeah, you'll be putting in more money than the 25, because you're also doing the softball field now, sorry.
Okay.
All right. Want me to make a motion? Dr. Vito, I'd like to make a motion to approve the baseball, softball fields reallocation of funds for swim starting blocks.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Megan, motion has been made. We have a second.
I will second that motion, Dr. Vito.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously, 7-0. All right, Mr. McGregor, you got your blocks.
Thank you.
All right. All right, have a good night, sir. All right. All right, let's go on to our next item, discussion of the Algonquin property.
I just wanted to get this back on the agenda at some point, whether you want to talk about it tonight or not, or if you need additional information from me. As I mentioned in an email that I sent to the board, a couple weeks ago, I was on the Joint Review Board Committee, which is the committee that oversees the tax incremental the TIF district basically in the village. And we are on the verge of approving an expansion to TID number 5, which is the one that it's going to be adding on the marketplace where Pick and Save is as part of that process. And then TID number 6 is going to be developed, which is the leftover, the remnants that were undeveloped from TID 2, which is Bradley Crossing area. TID 6 will include the Algonquin property. And so at some point, again, I think the board just needs to, have the conversation, or however you want to do it, whether you want to engage the community, whatever the case would be. But I guess, just feeling comfortable on whether or not you want to even look at pursuing, disposing of the property, selling it to a potential developer, or whether there's a concern about the current, our footprint and whether we have the space to do any additions. I will say that there are housing components to TID 5, which is again, that area north of Green Bay Road, northeast of the Green Bay Road, Grounder Road intersection. So there will be some residential components to those plans that the village will likely approve. How that'll impact schools, I don't know, but between that and I think I'm starting to see housing popping again a little bit with sales, and to see again how many families move into the district. I don't know. So the question I think first is, what information do you need to feel like you have you feel comfortable that for the next whatever timeframe that makes you comfortable to say that we do or don't want to hold on to that property. Because I do think if we were to sell it, yes, we could potentially get $1 million or something like that for the property. But if we need the space in 5 years, we have to go purchase property.
There is no land.
That would be a net loss for us. So it's really up to the board to decide what would you want. Now, the village could potentially work with us in other areas that are undeveloped, but again, you're talking about acquiring land at some point. So
there's no land.
Okay, now a question for you though, Kevin. See, because here's the issue. We talked about the whole thing about kindergarten, K4, and all the rest of that, and potentially doing early education or whatever have you. So if we already own the land, we could potentially build an early elementary spot there. When we look at the footprint that we're currently on right now, the reason why we had to tear down Dean and some other things is because of the wetland part or whatever. So you couldn't build a building there. So on this footprint right here, where else could you actually even build anything?
Well, I showed you some examples. We did have where Plunkett Racing had actually done some drawings and had that. There was the spot on 55th Street, which is basically an underused middle school soccer field right now. They had that that was their early childhood center that they kind of designed that could potentially be there. They also put a building outlot in front of the high school, so basically on that circle drive that Matt was talking about, to the right, where there's again, an underused.
Field?
It's but these are not the competitive soccer fields, these are just practice fields and extra recreational space. Obviously, you would be eating in the recreational space, that's really all we have available. Now, whether Dean could be, again, this is part of a larger discussion, but if we ever got to the point where we decided, I know there's a push to try to, people would like to have soccer played on the football field or that football space, because it's got lights, it's got a stadium, and, it has the amenities. If we ever looked at, a larger referendum project where you put turf in or something like that, where you could actually have a football/soccer field on at the same time, then potentially you could fill in the Dean space a little bit more with landfill and build up a little higher than where we were for that building. Then you'd have a spot there if we decided to repurpose the varsity soccer field. But I don't know there's a lot of other space other than maybe a little add-on here and there of, say, there's obviously space in the back of the high school building by relocating the driveway or maybe moving the tennis courts or other things. So, but if you're looking for an outlet for an entirely separate building with some space, those are probably the 3 spots that you'd have access to.
So I have a question. So if we can't build on it, if we sell it, can they build on it? So.
We can build
Yeah,
it.
they can. That's what, if we sell it, they can.
Which has been vacant, like that's why we're saying.
Algonquin Elementary School.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard that we tore it down because of.
No. I was saying in relationship to Dean, when we tore it down because of the water issue and stuff, and then all of that.
They had to tear down and rebuild a new building there.
Over here,
Right.
Right where the soccer fields are at now.
Algonquin, though, the building was in bad shape. I don't think it was environmentally with the space. I mean, it was falling apart in the mid-2000s, so they tore that down.
To answer your question, for me, what would be useful is, right now, the elementary school is, all their classrooms are filled. We have no extra classrooms. In the middle school, same question. How much extra space do we even have?
Right.
None, all the rooms are taken. Yes.
And there are extra spaces in there, but right now we have 5 sections of every grade level coming in this fall in the elementary school. And obviously that's also it's a big elementary school, that's. To have
700 plus.
To have 700 plus kids in there, it does add to the congestion of drop off.
It's the reason being able to potentially pull kindergarten out of there and having kindergarten and being able to, now you'd have an additional, 5 to 7 classrooms in elementary school to be able to use, because what you would do is you would build potentially back where the old Algonquin was at, where my son went, you could potentially build your early education, quote unquote.
But parents, and then this is just one concern, as a parent, it's great to have all your kids on one site. And I know it's only a mile or 2 miles away, but you're a walker, and now you're here a walker, but now you're there a driver, and that causes a huge headache. It would be a lot.
Kindergartners, they automatically get bused.
Okay, but just, now you have to be home to catch the bus, but you have to take your kid here. I mean, there's always something, parents have to be in 2 places at once and they can't. So to have everything on one campus is very advantageous for parents.
Right, but everybody's still gonna get out at different times.
Yeah.
So it does, so that part doesn't.
It's all on the same plane. I mean, right? You're not going over there and having to go here. It's just a matter of logistics. And I just think that's a huge consideration.
Yeah.
So is this an item that we can place on the agenda at our annual meeting in September, where we solicit the input of the community?
If they come, sure.
Yeah, you don't usually get a lot of, attendance there, but I guess, it is, if you want to do a community or something, I don't know what feedback you
I'm
need.
just trying to make sure that folks understand that this is a discussion, that we have to make a decision on, and certainly, we are the governance body, but I would like to know if
I would
anybody is
like to
concerned and interested.
I would say
in
what
this
we
matter
could
too.
do is, yes, it's the annual meeting, but we could put some bullet points on there of things we're gonna talk about. Potential expansion of buildings,
See, but that's referendum stuff. So again, that would all fall into that referendum.
but if we put, I'm not gonna say put our word on the agenda, but if we start to say that we're gonna talk about some of these expenses that we know are imminent in the next couple of years, and we want community input and support, and we start to market that early at the beginning of August, and we're pushing it, I would expect to get more than 1 or 2 people at the meeting.
I mean, yeah, and I certainly think it would,
particularly because these are very, very important purchases. We're talking about your dollars, that I think we would be remiss if we did not put that.
I mean, we have no choice or whatever in relationship to that or whatever. And again, we do it just like anything else. We put the information out there. Hopefully they come. You know, if they don't come, we did our due diligence. We put it out there. We were able to discuss, we were ready to discuss it. We put the information out there and we just kind of go from there. You know, I think, guys, there are things that we can control and there's things that we can't control. And, you know, the only thing we can do is just put it out there and if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. But again, what we've done is we put the information out there to the community and then they leave it to us potentially as our governing body to make the decision for it.
And if we put the R word, they definitely don't come.
So again, with the property piece, I did confirm with at the joint review board meeting that, I mean, because of the way the development incentives are designed for the cost, it's, if they don't spend any money, then, or if there's nothing to develop, there's no reason to spend money. So it doesn't matter to the village or to the health of the TID if Algonquin is developed or not. Because I did want to make it clear to them that you hadn't made a decision yet as to whether or not it'd be available. So it'll be in the TID, but it may not, you may decide not to do anything. So I just wanted to make sure that discussion keeps going. So at some point, the developers who have expressed interest, you know, if
Tell them, yeah,
they're not interested, you know, but I think, I really do believe that the first question is, do you think you might need it? And if you say no, then we can pursue, you know, negotiating and see what we can actually get for it. But if you feel like there's a chance that you will need it, then I would probably say, don't sell it.
Right.
Yeah,
Can we get census data for that meeting? Around there?
Or just general census of residents?
Yeah,
For the area for where Algonquin is?
no, for around there.
Here, I think they already got that already. The village already has it. Village already got all of that.
I don't know if the village has updated information, because obviously they know, and they would also be able to talk more about what's coming, because I don't know the specifics of stuff, like, there's already an apartment complex that's being developed, you know, that there's gonna be an additional, you know, additional bodies in that one, and then some of the new developments are talking about.
Well, the latest census data should be there, whatever the last census.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go on to our next item, the title policy update, first reading.
Nothing until end of meeting is better than Title IX discussion. So Erica Ramos, I believe, has been patiently waiting all this time on the call.
Yeah.
She and I sat with Richard Simon from Neola last week. And if you weren't aware, there were changes to the Title IX rules that are being implemented, and by the regulation, a school board, we have to have our new Title IX policy in effect prior to August 1st. Otherwise, federal funding could be withheld. So that's why we're bringing this first reading to you tonight. My plan is to, as they do recommend, I probably will run, unless you have other changes, I'm gonna run this draft through Bob Butler, just to have him give us an opinion as well. And then present to you a clean version for the July 23rd meeting for you to prove that it can be in effect. So there are changes to, so basically the rules are changing. And so the current policy, which is policy 2266, that's being revised with just a small header that basically says this policy is for incidents that occur on July 31st, 2024 and earlier. And then anything that occurs on August 1st and later will be this new policy, policy 2264. And that's the new rules. So they do include, and the biggest parts of that are including, or adjusting the definition of the categories that sexual harassment is covered, including gender identity, sex characteristics, pregnancy or related conditions. So that terminology is being expanded. And so there's a few things that are the policy changing. We shared with you the drafting notes, all the notes that Neola includes, because I think there's some good background information to note as to why people are suggesting this language or this other language. And we went through and did all of the adjustments with him, what he was recommending as the policies that he was recommending to his clients that he was working with. And so that's what you see there as this policy 2264 with markups. it's pretty in-depth. I can answer some questions. Erica can also chime in. We are the two, she's gonna be the lead Title IX coordinator, and I will be her backup. And so when you see the Title IX individual, that would primarily be her addressing any complaints that would come through for Title IX. Erica, did I miss anything, or is there anything you wanted to add on that?
No, you covered it all. Thanks, Kevin. You're the best.
All right.
It's weird.
She's enjoying her.
Why is the number 2264 lower than 226?
That's, they already had a policy, so they must just have found an open number that was in the general area. Okay.
All right, cool. All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I would motion to approve the first reading of Neola policy revisions, including 2266 and 2264 as presented.
All right, thank you very much. Motion has been made. Do we have a second? All right, thank you very much.
Who's that?
Second was Macon.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion? Being seen, all in favor, will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. And let's go to our board reports. I do not have an update for this WSA and legislative update. Wasby?
Yeah, it's probably from the WASB website, because we're moving into a new year as of July 1, doing proper notification for annual meetings, we do. And notifying parents of the changes in academic standards before the school year begins. And that can be via a website notification or an electronic push out through the SIS system. So I think those were the two things. And of course, we spend a lot of time talking about the budget and the budget adoption, so.
All right, thank you very much. Ed Foundation.
We did not meet this month, but we were able to present scholarships to the students at the award ceremony at the end of May. So between the community scholarships, which was $32,000, and then we had a number of named scholarships. So I think it was probably close to about $50,000 this year that students received between those various scholarship funds, so.
All right, excellent. Parks and Rec?
Park and Recs, we did not meet in June. Vibes was canceled last week. Next week is the 4th of July festivities. And there'll be July and August vibes.
All right, sounds good. All right, our board planning calendar, July 1st through the 5th is our 4th of July holiday, so no school, no summer school. The 8th, summer school resumes. The 19th, last day of summer school. 23rd is our board meeting. August 2nd, summer board retreat. The 13th, special board meeting, 21st and 23rd. New teacher week, 26th, welcome back kickoff. 27th is our board meeting in ASC. And the 28th is our open house at 7 p.m. I also want to say that, actually technically we don't need to go into a closed session because of the personnel issue. So we do not need to go into closed session.
Just everyone take note, the board retreat on August 2nd is a Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It always is a Friday.
It's always Friday.
I'm saying everyone take note, because some people don't.
And it's in the morning.
Yeah, it's in the morning.
The first, yeah.
Yep. All right. With that being said, everyone, thank you so much for taking your time tonight. Can I get someone to give me a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, so
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. Motion to adjourn. Ms. Ashley, second. All right. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. All in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing seen, no motion carries unanimously, 7-0. I call this board meeting adjourned at 8:37 p.m. Thank you very much. Enjoy the remainder of it, and we will see you July 23rd. Why don't y'all tell me about this? Y'all so bogus.
No.
Y'all so bogus. Oh my God.
Wait, we still on.